My wife believed money could solve any problem. On our wedding day, she let her young assistant cause a scene, screaming at me and calling me a homewrecker. When I was being attacked all over the internet, she used $100,000 to buy off my pain. When that same assistant accidentally shattered my late father's heirloom, she used $300,000 to buy off my tears. It all came to a head when the assistant framed me for stealing his watch and demanded I be sent to prison. She was completely nonchalant. You're always in his face. It's only natural he gets sick of you. Maybe some time in jail will give him the peace and quiet he needs. So, name your price. How much to buy your wounded heart? $100 million. I said the astronomical figure, my eyes red with emotion. She only hesitated for a moment. Then, a smile spread across her face. Done. I watched in utter shock as she walked away with her assistant. As I covered my face, pretending to be heartbroken, I finally couldn't suppress my laughter. She finally fell for it. Sarah Thompson held Ethan Miller's hand and walked away without a single glance back. She left me standing there, utterly devastated. Even the household staff seemed to pity me. They were either shaking their heads, calling me a spineless fool, or sighing that a husband had less appeal than a mere assistant. My eyes still red, I stormed into the bedroom and slammed the door. Finally, I could let out the laughter I'd been holding back. $100 million for a 6-month prison sentence? Sarah, oh Sarah, you finally took the bait. It made all the previous humiliations worthwhile. All those times I demanded to know if she even saw me as her husband while she threw money at my pain. No, I shouldn't say it was all an act. In the beginning, I really did throw the money back in her face. I was stubborn back then, insisting that money couldn't buy love. I wanted my Sarah back, the girl who followed me around since we were kids, the one who sweetly called me Danny. But I eventually realized that when a person changes, they're changed for good. Since I couldn't get her back, I figured I might as well get a massive payout. Compensation for the 20 years of my life I gave her. When the car Sarah arranged to take me to the police station pulled up, I put on my best heartbroken expression and obediently got in. But then the GPS rerouted, and we ended up stopping in front of a remote warehouse. A sudden sense of dread washed over me. The driver today, he wasn't one of Sarah's usual guys. Just as I was about to bolt, a cloth was pressed over my mouth and nose from behind. The next thing I knew, I was tied to a chair. A vaguely familiar man stood before me. He pressed a phone to my ear, and I spoke, my voice trembling. Sarah, Daniel, is that really you? Sarah's voice was laced with panic for a second. The man put the phone back to his own ear. You heard me. 100 million by noon. For every 10 minutes you're late, I cut off a finger. You dare kidnap my husband? Sarah's voice was tight with fury. Do you have any idea who the Thompson family has on their security payroll? The man hesitated. If you want to live, you'll let him go now and wait for the police. Do that, and I might consider showing you some mercy. No, it was another man's voice. My heart sank. It was Sarah's assistant, Ethan Miller. Sarah, don't call the police. He's my brother. Sarah went silent. My brother never got to go to school. He worked odd jobs his whole life to put me through college. Without him, I wouldn't be here. I never would have met you. He's just hit a rough patch. He was desperate. If you call the cops on him, you might as well arrest me too. Don't be ridiculous. Hearing the tone of Sarah's voice, I knew she had caved. No one knew the subtle shifts in her voice better than I did. My shoulders slumped and I leaned back against the chair. Sure enough, she gave in. I won't call the police, and my security team will stand down. The 100 million is yours. But you have to guarantee he remains unharmed. The man smirked. Money talks. For the next 3 hours, I sat in that chair completely calm. $100 million was nothing to Sarah. My only worry was whether she'd deduct this from the money she promised me. If she tried to tell me my $100 million payout was used for my own ransom, I would lose my mind. With 2 hours to spare before the noon deadline, Sarah had the money ready. We have a deal. The money arrives, you let him go. If not, Thompson Security will make your life a living hell. Hearing Sarah's threat, the man sneered. Of course, I want money. A murder charge doesn't do me any good. All right, I'm wiring it now. Sarah, it was Ethan's voice again. That custom car I wanted just went on sale. It's a one-of-a-kind. If we don't pay for it right now, someone else is going to snap it up. Once again, Sarah was silent. I started to get anxious. Sarah, she paused before speaking. Daniel, just wait a little longer. This car is the final piece from his favorite designer's farewell collection. It's exactly 100 million, and he's wanted it for ages. But I'm being held hostage. Enough. Can't you wait for one more hour? Sarah was losing her patience. He has waited 3 years for this car. Can you stop being so selfish for once? I glanced at the clock, its hands nearing 11, and gritted my teeth. Sarah turned her attention back to the kidnapper. Mr. Miller, for this last hour, I expect you to keep your word and not lay a hand on him. Of course. As long as you can get another 100 million before noon. Of course. And just like that, the call ended. My sense of calm was now replaced by a knot of tension. As the hands of the clock ticked closer to 12, I felt my own deadline approaching. No, I shook my head. 100 million was no trouble for Sarah. It was just a matter of reallocating funds. A few signatures, that's all it would take. With that thought, my tense muscles began to relax again. But when there were only 3 minutes left until noon, the anxiety returned. The phone didn't ring. The wire transfer didn't arrive. The kidnapper was getting impatient too. Seeing the cold look in his eyes, I forced a smile. She'll get it, don't worry. We've known each other since we were 5. 20 years. She wouldn't just let you kill me. Daniel, he said coldly, I'm at the end of my rope. If I don't get that money today, we're both dying here. I swallowed hard. She'll pay. A breaking news story flashed across the TV mounted on the wall. The moment I saw the image, my heart plummeted. Legendary designer's farewell masterpiece sells instantly. Mysterious billionaire spends 100 million for her love. It was a live feed. Ethan Miller sat in the driver's seat of the stunningly designed car, looking every bit the international celebrity. And Sarah was right there in the passenger's seat, smiling and waving to the cameras alongside him. The press was having a field day, capturing one perfect shot after another. A moment later, Ethan's brother, Leo, saw the news trending all over Twitter. The clock struck 12. I swallowed hard. Your brother has $100 million car now. That's kind of like you having it, right? Don't give me that crap. A hand clamped around my throat. He glared down at me. My brother and I have struggled to get this far. I would never touch his money. Since the time is up, Daniel, you leave me no other choice. He grabbed my hand and slammed it onto the table. Every nerve in my body screamed. Wait, let me call her. He scowled. I begged him. She must have just forgotten. Let me call her. I swear she'll send the money right away. Never mind 100 million, 200 million. She might even pay that. Leo paused. Then he smiled. I have a better idea. This time, Leo made a video call. The moment she saw me, Sarah frowned. Just wait a little longer. Ethan is really enjoying this moment, so don't ruin it by acting out. I'm not. A needle jabbed into my neck. My pupils constricted. The next second, a pair of pliers clamped down on my pinky fingernail and ripped it clean off. Daniel. Sarah's eyes flew wide. My body convulsed uncontrollably. God, why does it hurt so much? It shouldn't hurt this much, Daniel. Mrs. Thompson. Leo held my bloody fingernail up to the camera. I injected him with something that magnifies pain by a factor of 10. Just pulling a nail is enough to make him wish for death. Do you have a death wish? Sarah's eyes blazed with fury. Mrs. Thompson, I told you. 10 minutes, 1 finger. It's past noon. No, don't. My hand was forced back onto the table. I watched in horror as he prepared to take my first finger. Sarah panicked. I'll send it now. Sada. No. It was Ethan again. On the screen, Ethan looked at my hand in shock, his brow furrowed. Lau, you've gone too far. Ethan. Leo seemed at a loss for words. Ethan turned to Sarah, his face a mask of pleading. Sarah, you can't give him the money. Both Sarah and I froze. I have to. Daniel can't take the pain. You still can't. Ethan grew frantic. Sarah, I never thought my brother would go this far. If you pay him, he'll just keep doing things like this. This time it's Daniel, and you're here to help. But what about next time? If he kidnaps someone else and gets caught, I won't have a brother anymore. Sarah seemed to be considering this. So please, Sarah, let me talk to him. He listens to me. If I can get him to change his ways, you'll be saving not just yourself, but both of us. Sarah, don't listen to him. The pain was driving me insane. His brother is crazy. No one can talk him down. He just wants to watch me suffer. That bastard. Daniel, you. Ethan's eyes instantly reddened. Sarah immediately moved to protect him. Are you insane? He's trying to save you. Is that any way to speak to the person trying to help you? Just because your own heart is black, don't assume everyone else's is too. Sarah, Ethan cut me off. Daniel, I'll go talk to my brother. Don't worry, I won't let anything happen to you. Sarah frowned. Ethan is doing everything he can to save you, and you slander him like this. How dare you? With that, she hung up. But just as I predicted, Ethan had no chance of convincing Leo to back down. In fact, it was the opposite. After Leo got off the phone with his brother, the look he gave me was even more menacing. My brother tells me you not only stole his girl, but you've been targeting him again and again. I trembled, begging him to stop, but all I could do was watch as he brought the pliers down on my finger. I'm at the end of my rope. I'm ready to die, but at least I get to take a bastard like you with me. No, I was plunged into total despair. Thankfully, a call from Ethan interrupted him. He answered the video call. It wasn't Ethan, but Sarah. Daniel. The moment she saw me, her eyes widened in disbelief. Sarah had immediately dispatched the Thompson security team. It didn't take them long to find the warehouse. The moment the doors burst open, she was standing there. Daniel, with what little consciousness I had left, I warned her. There's a bomb. Stay back. The Thompson security guards instinctively fell back. Only she rushed forward. The bomb strapped to my chest had less than 10 seconds on the timer, but the ropes binding me were in a dead knot. Don't be scared. I'll have it undone in a second. Don't be scared. Her own hands were trembling, but she didn't hesitate for a second. In that hazy moment, I thought I saw the Sarah I used to love. The one who would stand by my side, no matter what. Forget about me, Sarah. Just go. No way. Come on, untie. Hurry. She urged herself on, her fingers fumbling with the knot. 5 seconds left. The dead knot finally loosened. My eyes lit up. Sarah, quick. Sarah. At that critical moment, a figure appeared in the doorway. It was Ethan. I saw Sarah's pupils constrict. She was on her feet in an instant. Stay back. I panicked. Sarah, he's not in danger. There's just one knot left. Help me. Beep, beep, boom. The warehouse shuddered. Sarah had thrown herself on top of Ethan, shielding him with her body. Who told you to come here? She yelled, furious. Ethan was stunned. I was worried about you. Wait, what's that? Ethan suddenly pointed. Sarah turned, and her body went rigid. I was on the ground. One of my legs was a bloody mess. My wrists were raw and bleeding. I had torn through the last of the ropes at the final second, but I was a moment too late. My left leg had taken the brunt of the blast. Sarah gently covered Ethan's eyes with her hand. Don't look. You don't want to see this. My bloody hand clenched into the dirt floor. I finally lost consciousness and collapsed. When I opened my eyes again, I was in a hospital bed. Sarah was sitting beside me. So, name your price. How much to buy your wounded heart? I couldn't believe it. The first words I heard after nearly dying were the same old, familiar transaction. Daniel, this was my fault. Whatever you want, I'll give it to you as compensation. $1 billion. She froze. Then she chuckled. You're learning to make outrageous demands. You're the one who offered. This time, I lost 20 years of my life and our love. $1 billion doesn't even begin to cover it. Daniel, she looked at me as if I were insane. Putting a price tag on our 20 years together? Have you lost your mind? Oh, so you do remember it's been 20 years. $1 billion? I think that's letting you off easy. She slammed her palm on the bedside table. I met her gaze without flinching. I watched her chest rise and fall as she tried to control her anger. Finally, she swallowed her rage. She leaned in, a sarcastic smile on her lips. Fine, compensation it is. She stood up and turned to her assistant. Give him $1. Yes, ma'am. She left. The assistant she left behind gave me a mocking look. $1. It became the talk of the entire hospital floor. When the crisp dollar bill was placed in my hand, I smiled. This will do. Sarah returned to the hospital a week later. But the person in the bed wasn't me. Mrs. Thompson, Mr. Thompson was discharged days ago. You didn't know? Sarah sneered. So now he leaves the hospital without a word. That night, she returned to our home in San Francisco. She opened the door. The familiar figure she expected to see wasn't there. Only a set of divorce papers lay on the dining table. What the hell is he trying to do? Sarah flipped them open in disbelief. The section on asset division contained a single line. All claims related to the marital partnership are to be bought out by the wife for the sum of $1. Slap! The papers fell to the floor. Her first instinct was to call me, but the call wouldn't go through. Her iMessages wouldn't deliver. Daniel, what in the world are you playing at? The hand holding her phone was trembling. It was true she had used money to smooth things over countless times, but that was just her way of placating him. Ethan was often petulant and couldn't handle being told no, so she used money to get Daniel to be more tolerant. It was compensation, not a buyout. Even if she paid for his pain again and again, there was one thing that was never for sale. Their 20 years of history. How could he be so flippant? To put a price on their love was bad enough. but to use one single dollar to humiliate her. Huh. She suddenly laughed. Playing this game. He's just angry I didn't give him more, isn't he? Taking out her phone, she quickly wired $10 million to his usual account. But a moment later, the transfer was rejected by the bank. The notification read, "Account closed." Sarah stared at the screen, stunned. She tried Daniel's other accounts. All closed. What kind of game is he playing now? She frowned, disappearing to make her worry. So he'd have more leverage when he finally came back to the table? She'd seen this tactic 100 times before. "Mrs. Thompson, should I dispatch the security team to find him?" "No," she said coldly. "As long as no one plays along with his little drama, he'll come crawling back. Let's see how long he can keep this up." "Yes, Mrs. Thompson. One more thing." Sarah's mind turned to something else. Leo Miller. "Any news?" "None." Sarah frowned. That was strange. After the explosion, Leo had vanished without a trace. Ethan claimed he had no idea where his brother went. What is really going on? She shook her head. Never mind. She would just wait for Daniel to come home. After her assistant left, she lay down on the vast, empty bed. An empty feeling settled in her chest. She hadn't slept in this bed in a long time. The sheets no longer carried his scent. She rolled over. Her eyes fell on a stack of papers on the nightstand. She picked them up. A psychological evaluation? She flipped to the first page. Post-traumatic stress disorder. Patient reports being injected with a pain-amplifying agent, followed by torture, including removal of fingernails with pliers and breaking of phalanges. When questioned about the rescue, patient became nonverbal, suggesting significant trauma associated with the event. Hypnotherapy revealed a male individual, EM, who incited the primary aggressor to employ increasingly brutal methods against the patient. A subsequent memory block is present, believed to be the core trauma. Further sessions will be required to address this, currently stabilizing with medication and regular therapy sessions. The report slipped from her fingers and fell onto the bed. Sarah's breath hitched. "He's been seeing a therapist?" Sarah drove straight to Ethan's penthouse in Miami. Ethan was alone. The moment he saw her, he threw his arms around her. "Sarah, did you know I couldn't sleep? Is that why you came? I'm a wreck. Every time I close my eyes, I see Daniel tied to that chair. Why am I so useless? I couldn't talk my brother down. I let him do those things to Daniel." Sarah looked at his anguished face. She had spent all her time away from home, comforting him. Ever since the explosion, Ethan had been inconsolable, blaming himself for not stopping his brother. To lift his spirits, she had sent a fortune in rare gifts and treasures to his home. But this time, Sarah's hand shot out and clamped around his throat. Ethan stared at Sarah in disbelief. "Sarah, did you really try to talk him down?" "Of course I did," Ethan said, his eyes welling up. "Don't you dare lie to me." Her grip tightened, and Sarah's voice was a low snarl. "I've spoken to Daniel's therapist. I know everything. You bastard. You didn't try to stop him. You encouraged him, made him hurt Daniel even more." Ethan's breath hitched in his throat. The next second, she shoved him violently away. Sarah gritted her teeth. "Call the police. Hire the best lawyers in the country. I want him to get the maximum sentence." "No." Ethan grabbed onto Sarah's legs. "Sarah, you can't do this to me. I've been with you since I graduated. Everything I did for you, to be with you. How can you She kicked him away. Ethan stared up at her in disbelief as she loomed over him. "After all this time, you still don't understand your place. Yes, you helped me out of a tight spot at a fundraiser right after you graduated. But all I ever owed you was gratitude, not love. I told you 1,000 times you could have your tantrums, but you were never to touch him." Ethan stared at her, stunned into silence. Sarah turned her back on him. "Take him away." "Huh." A cold laugh echoed in the room. Sarah turned back, surprised. The usually meek young man now wore a look of pure disdain. "Fine, I'll go to jail. It doesn't matter. I've already made more than enough off you over the years." "What did you say?" Sarah's brow tightened. Ethan lifted his chin defiantly. "Sarah, I was willing to play house with you. You were generous, after all. But seeing you today, I realize you're nothing special. You call me a bastard, but if you had just paid the ransom from the start, none of this would have happened. I never would have had a chance." "You?" Sarah gritted her teeth. Ethan was completely unafraid. "For what I did, I'll get 7, maybe 8 years tops. But the money I've siphoned from you over the years, that's already in the tens of millions." Sarah's fists clenched at her sides. "And by the way, that money has already been moved to an offshore account. You've been wondering where my brother disappeared to, haven't you? Ethan grinned. He's already out of the country, managing my new fortune for me. Bastard. She slapped him hard across the face. A trickle of blood appeared at the corner of Ethan's mouth, but he was still smiling. Get as angry as you want. It doesn't change a thing. You'll never have any power over me, Sarah. Is that so? Sarah laughed, a cold, furious sound. She took out her phone. She answered an incoming call and put it on speaker. Mrs. Thompson, the offshore accounts have been frozen, and our security team has located his brother. We have him in custody. Ethan's eyes widened in horror. What did he do to my husband? Sarah smiled coldly into the phone. Do the same to him. Now. No. Ethan scrambled to grab her legs again. Don't do that to my brother. I'm begging you. I'll go to prison. I'll confess to everything. I don't care how long I serve. The money. I'll get the money back. Please. He'll die if you do that to him. And you knew what he was doing could kill a man. She grabbed Ethan's chin, forcing him to look at her. Sarah's eyes were blazing. Then why did you let your brother do it to him? For the first time, Ethan's tears seemed genuine. Sarah, shove him away. As for prison, that would be getting off easy. What? Ethan looked up, his face filled with terror. He heard Sarah give a cold command to her security team. Take him to the basement. Handle this according to Thompson family rules. Sarah, Ethan was hauled to his feet. No, Sada, you can't do this to me. I'll die. I'll really die. Let me go. His voice faded as he was dragged away. Finally, it was silenced by the closing of the basement door. While all this was happening, I was in a new city getting therapy. On the day my therapist finally told me I was recovered, I smelled a familiar, acrid scent. Someone clamped a cloth over my mouth and nose from behind. I struggled for a moment before everything went black. When I came to, I was tied to a chair again. Only this time, the person standing in front of me was far more familiar. Stay calm. Whatever money you want, I can get it for you. I tried to placate him. Then he ripped off his surgical mask. What would I want with your money? Staring at the horribly disfigured lower half of his face, I gasped. Hey, Ethan, is that you, Ethan? I stared at him in disbelief. What happened to you? Isn't it obvious? This is your fault. He pulled his mask back on. He took out a phone and made a call. I heard Sarah's voice, colder than ice. What are you going to do to him? Sarah, does it hurt to see him like this? I could hear Sarah grit her teeth. Same rules as before. $100 million. And a helicopter to get me out of the country. I choose the pilot. You have 24 hours. Fail and well. Daniel just finished his therapy. I don't mind giving him a relapse. You dare. Sarah's voice was a roar of fury. But it didn't faze Ethan. His smile was laced with a tragic bitterness. Sarah, my face can never be fixed. You ruined my life. Without that 100 million, I can't start over. And don't think you can threaten me. I have nothing to lose. I'll kill myself and take Daniel with me before I let you in. Don't. Sarah's voice was frantic. The money, the helicopter, you'll have it. Just let me see him. Ethan snorted. He turned the camera on me. I saw the worry etched on Sarah's face. Daniel, don't be afraid. This time, I will save you. I promise. I turned my head away, silent. Ethan laughed. See that, Sarah? He won't even look at you. Did you ever imagine this day would come? I saw Sarah's eyes glisten. She left him with one final warning. If you so much as scratch him, you won't see a single penny. Then she hung up. While waiting for the ransom, Ethan didn't touch me. Instead, he told me what had happened to him. He'd been taken to the basement. Everything that had been done to me was done to him, only worse. The face he had been so proud of was destroyed. He was on the verge of a complete mental breakdown. Then, one rainy night, he slipped past a careless guard and escaped through a window, which led to this. Don't blame me, Daniel. I'm only 23. I can't live the rest of my life with this face. He gestured to his scars. I need a lot of money to start over. I closed my eyes. Kidnapped for a second time. I felt strangely numb. It was only death, after all. But this time, Sarah moved with astonishing speed. The $100 million arrived in his account. Not only that, a helicopter was waiting in a clearing nearby. It's here. Ethan looked at his account balance and jumped to his feet, ecstatic. I watched him run for the door, but then he stopped. He looked me up and down. He picked up a machete from the floor. What are you doing? I stared at him. He started to laugh. I'm never coming back to this country. Who's going to care if I kill one person? Daniel, you're the reason my brother is gone. Today, you're going to pay for it. Ethan, calm down. It was like he couldn't hear me. He raised the machete high above his head. No, I squeezed my eyes shut. The next second, a voice boomed through a megaphone. Ethan Miller, you are surrounded. Drop your weapon and surrender. Damn it. She called the cops. Ethan gritted his teeth. He glanced back at the helicopter, so close to freedom. Then he looked at me. He sliced through my ropes, then grabbed me in a chokehold. He pressed the barrel of a gun to my temple. Anyone comes near me, and I'll kill him right now. The police and Thompson's security team froze. Among the tense faces, I saw Sarah, her jaw clenched in fury. Ethan dragged me toward the helicopter. He sneered. You never thought I'd be the one to outsmart you, did you, Sarah? Sarah's fists were shaking with rage. I tried to drag my feet. I knew, the moment he was safely in the air, he would kill me. But he seemed to read my mind. He jabbed the gun hard against my temple. Move it, or I'll kill you right now. I had no choice. I was forced onto the helicopter. Daniel, I saw Sarah let out a heart-wrenching scream as she grabbed a rifle from one of her guards. But she was a second too late. Ethan fired a shot, and it hit her in the chest. My breath caught in my throat. Sarah, close the door. Ethan smiled in triumph. As the helicopter door began to slide shut, my hope for survival vanished with it. I closed my eyes and sighed. Bang! A gunshot rang out. Warm blood splattered across my face. I touched it. It wasn't mine. I turned in disbelief. Ethan's eyes were wide with shock. He clutched his bleeding neck, stumbled backward, and collapsed onto the floor of the helicopter. I whipped my head around. Down below, Sarah was holding the rifle she grabbed. The trigger just pulled. Later, someone asked her, wasn't she afraid the bullet would miss and hit me, or that she'd miss Ethan entirely and he'd kill me in retaliation? She shook her head. Either I saved him, or we died together. She saved me, but in doing so, she had brought herself to the brink of death. The bullet had passed right by her heart. She was in the ICU for 3 days. As the person whose life she'd saved, I felt obligated to sit by her bedside. She opened her eyes and saw me there. Daniel, ignoring the pain, she reached out and grabbed my hand. You came back? Have you been here with me this whole time? I gently pulled my hand away. Don't get the wrong idea, Sarah. I couldn't just abandon the person who saved my life. Her face fell, but she still looked at me with a glimmer of hope. So, when I'm better, you'll come home with me, right? I was about to answer, but the doctor across the room caught my eye and shook his head slightly. I changed my answer. You should just focus on getting better for now. I couldn't say no and risk upsetting her recovery, but I didn't want to agree either. It was a compromise. Of course, she heard the truth in my words. I saw the disappointment in her eyes, but neither of us was willing to say it out loud. We could still maintain a fragile peace. When I had time, I would visit, bring her a meal, or help the nurse. Sometimes we would just talk, until one day, her doctor pulled me aside and told me she had been well enough to be discharged for weeks. I confronted her with the discharge papers. She gave me a bitter smile. If I hadn't done this, would you have ever come to see me again? I was speechless. She knew the truth better than anyone. I put the papers down. I turned to leave. Since you're fine, I think this is where we say goodbye. Thank you for saving my life. Daniel, she reached for me, but I was already walking away. She ran out after me, but I was already gone. Her assistant spoke up. We'll bring him back, Mrs. Thompson. No, don't. Her voice was barely a whisper. Mrs. Thompson, he's never coming back. With that, she turned and walked forlornly back to her empty room. She checked out of the hospital that same day. The last time we saw each other was at the courthouse to finalize the divorce. She signed over 90% of her assets to me. I refused. She put her hand over mine. Don't misunderstand. This isn't me trying to buy anything. Just think of it as compensation. I don't need it. I'm doing fine on my own. She held onto my arm. If you don't take it, I'll never be able to live with myself. Sarah, Daniel, she cut me off. Please, just do this for me. I had never seen her look so helpless. For a moment, I couldn't find the words to refuse. She looked at me, her eyes red-rimmed. Forgive me. Besides money, I have nothing left to give you. That day, I walked away with the settlement agreement in my hand. I don't know what happened to her after that. I never asked. After everything, I had finally achieved what I once thought I wanted. I was fabulously wealthy, but to have gotten it this way, I truly don't know if I should call myself lucky or cursed.